Chisholm?
Present.
Benj?
Present.
Smith?
Present.
Van Dorn?
Present.
Oh, absent. I will take a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda tonight.
Motion by Chisholm,
I'll second.
second by Van Dorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda for this evening.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Benj,
I'll second it.
second by Chisholm. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Okay. Mayor's report. One thing I wanted to talk to everybody about right now is the water usage. We've been seeing a really high increase in water since basically the turn of end of February. The first 11 days of February, you was using 7,000 gallons daily more than we were in clear through January. I know we had a leak in the next door, but just this usage, the tower's filling up every day instead of every other day like it used to. So if you see a neighbor that's got water standing or something freezing anywhere, just kind of spread the word for us that people need to kind of be on the lookout for something, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense for us.
Anything that's been shut off and turned on, maybe we ought to check. There's gotta be,
Because that's what, on average, is in January, we're using 17,000 gallons, and we've been averaging 24,000 gallons daily in February so far, so.
Well, for about 10 minutes, we thought we had the culprit this morning, but it turned out it wasn't, so.
Gary Chester said his pipes froze.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So yeah, just kind of be on the lookout, pass the word along for everybody to kind of take a look. It's just,
there's nobody we shut off that's moved or
No, the
went south or anything.
two that come to mind, and I'll get out there tomorrow morning, be Brooklyn's place out there, the rental, and then Thompson's. I don't know if anybody's been out by there for a while, so I'll go take a quick peek there. You know, if it's, well, it'll be running through the meter anyway, though. When I'm, am I right on that? If a line breaks in the basement, it can be going down through the drain,
Yeah.
you know, and we'll never see it outside.
See, this house had a leak, which I got fixed at the valve, which the valve is 6 feet from the meter, so that was on the city's dime, which when the lines were all broke, it was going through the meter then, but yeah, there could be leaks between the valves and the meter in some of these houses that we need to look at, but I might go into this trailer and look at that, where that thing was broke
okay.
I
last year.
went by it this morning. It looked good to me, so, well, we had that down pretty deep.
I would guess we've got some frozen pipe and leaks somewhere where somebody's not.
Kind of before the meter in some places. And
That trailer, is that?
Gary went out and looked at Walters a few days ago. I probably will go out and look at it again tomorrow. Because there's a ball valve there and the meter sticking up, Walter Long's trailer out there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Gary put a lot of straw around it, and we're thinking with the straw and the snow, probably is okay. But I don't know, it's thawed a little bit and it's frozen
At
again.
that trailer where,
It was leaking like a sieve in there before we got it shut off. I mean, that's that deal. When I pulled up out there, I heard the water running out of it when I got out of the car. We got it shut off since. We need to dig that and get it shut off on it.
okay, so but that's the main. I mean, that's what we're kind of want to everybody pass that along, spread that, and kind of check your own. Have everybody check theirs when we get there. Get out of here tonight and just in the coming days.
is there a way that, do you think, is there, you know, we replaced some of these meters and didn't replace some of them, can we go into some, if we find some houses that's using
A lot, or
a
not
lot or
enough.
not enough to see if there's any leaks between, basically, they're shut off in the meter. It depends on where the meters are sometimes, you know. What do we have to do to go in the house and look at some of those?
I'm trying to remember the day's notice. I'm trying to remember.
24 hours.
That's what I was.
I think you
thinking,
get,
is 24
I think you get a
hours.
right to go in, but.
Yeah.
24 hour notice.
Maybe I'll get with Gary and we'll do some of that. Go through some houses and, cause, then people weren't too worried about it leaking, because it's not on their dime, but, you
It's
know.
on everybody
theirs.
else.
Yeah, so.
Alright, and we also have, I just wanna give some thank yous out for stuff that's gone on. Thanks to Gary with this weather being what it is, he's done a great job. Goes down and checks the pump house, make sure we got water in town, plowing, taking care of the streets and everything for us as best as he can. Just kind of gone above and beyond with the weather situation being what it's been. Special thanks to Councilman Bench for coming in and shampooing the carpets for us, cleaning up our city hall, our meeting room here and everything, and council chamber. Looks really great. As a lot of you know, I coach JV basketball, and this has been our busy time, and everybody that's come in and helped out around City Hall and doing everything that it does to just make everything go. I appreciate it, because I haven't been here as often as I am during the summertime and fall. So just thanks to everybody there. As I was talking about right before we started tonight, last Friday night, the city hosted the first varsity level basketball game we've hosted in 20 years. I would guess there was probably 800 or 900 people in town that night. It was a packed house. The whole one side of the gym was packed, and the other side was pretty full as well. So hoping that maybe the school district will allow us to do that again in the future, because it was a basketball hungry town down here that used to be a pretty passionate thing here in town, and it was just really nice to see everybody out supporting the boys. So that's all I've got. Communication from the public. Any public comments tonight? Oh, all right, we will move on. Since we don't really have any old business, we'll slide on into new business. First thing on the agenda for new business is we have Darren Batterson in attendance. He'd be running for sheriff. Do you want to talk to everybody, Darren?
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I know most everybody. So I've been a police officer in Tacoma for 21 years. I was a Davis County deputy for a year before that. I threw my hat in for sheriff. I'm the only one that's not a deputy. So a lot of my views are different than everybody else's. Being on the PD, we got our way of doing things, and I want to try to incorporate some of that to the sheriff's department. Maybe they make things that are already good better. You never know, there's always more one way to skin a cat. One way might work better than the other way. So I'd like to see us get some more deputies. I know Don will tell you the same thing. You just can't run this county with 10 people. It took us forever. I was on the union in Ottumwa. It took us forever to increase the police officers there. And finally, they bumped us up to 42 people. We were running a lot, most of the time on 24, 25 people. So we were covering the whole city of Ottumwa with 1 or 2 officers. So I know the pain covered with nobody. You can hopefully do that without raising taxes. There are federal funding, federal grants for them. Obviously with grants, when grants run out, the county has to pick up that load, but hopefully by the time the grant runs out, you can figure out other ways to incorporate that. I'm also a big K-9 enthusiast. I love K-9s. If you have a K-9 unit, it's a very effective tool if used properly in the police department. And deputy out here alone, driving by himself, encountering people in the dark by themselves, having a K-9 as a backup is a very useful thing. Once again, I've funded one of those for the city. I know how to get the grants for those. You can fund everything on the K-9 completely, except for the officer's wages. So, you know, your $10,000 dog, you can cover that, and that also includes equipment for the vehicles and stuff. So I'd like to see the county get 1 or if not 2 of those to add, because that adds an extra half a man, kind of. I'd also like, you guys probably already know, when they built the jail, they poured footings for the addition, but they just didn't add it on, they didn't finish it. We need to get that ball rolling, get it back in. There was over 3,200 arrests last year in Wapello County and 100-man jail. So we do a lot of catch and release. It's very frustrating to all the police officers and deputies and troopers to arrest somebody and see them walking down the street before you can do your paperwork. We have a new county attorney now, so hopefully he's trying to end some of that catch and release and starting to hold people accountable. And being from Wapello County, I was born and raised in agency. My parents, born and raised in agency in Elton. Their parents, same way. Been here forever. My kids went to school. My stepdaughter graduated from Blakesburg. I have a daughter still in Cardinal. I spent 17 years with the students in the Tumble. So I know our kids are a major thing. And I grew up carefree, and I want grandchildren and great-grandchildren to grow up carefree too. Because things just aren't getting safer. Wapello County is in the top 10 for most crime. So I'd like to dig in and see if I can do a little more to help get that crime rate down. Other than that, that's all I got. Any questions for me?
No, I don't think I do. No, it's good.
Thanks for stopping in.
Yep, I
Really appreciate it.
And I appreciate the info on the monthly fees or the quarterly fees. So, thank you.
Yep, thanks, Darren.
Good luck to you.
Next on the agenda is Don Phillips with the sheriff's report.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
I'm running for sheriff, as everybody knows. I've been with the sheriff's office for 25 years. Been living in Wapello County for 29 of those years. But I spent 16 and a half years working patrol investigations, and the last 2.5 years at the drug task force working there. I've been chief deputy the last 6 years. Staffing is a main concern that I have at the sheriff's office. One of the things we've been working on the last year, and I put in the budget, requested this, is a school resource officer for Cardinal. Not that Cardinal's having any issues there, they're just being proactive about it. We've worked on it the last year, and we'll see what the supervisors say about that. The other thing is I want a dedicated investigator for our office. I think we do a pretty good job investigating these crimes, and I think our guys do a great job, but I think we could do better with a full-time investigator. That full-time investigator can work those cases that are drawn out, and the guys can be doing their patrolling and working the street as they're assigned. So those are two things I'm looking at. As I said, the last 6 years I've been chief deputy. I bring the administration and leadership piece to this campaign. I think I'm the one that's ahead of the other candidates with that aspect of it when it involves a $3 million budget and daily overseeing the operations at the jail. I just think that I have that piece that the other ones don't, which sits me a step ahead of them. So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, the pamphlet has my phone number on the back and my email address. If you have any questions, you feel free to contact me. So,
I had a question. I heard that the supervisors said they're gonna hire another deputy. I heard a 2-to-1 vote makes one of them mad, but they said they were gonna get another deputy.
Did that come down?
what I was told that it looks like kind of what you heard, Larry, is I think they're going to do the school resource officer.
Yeah.
And then I think another one, the other one too,
Well,
is what kind of a scuttlebutt I heard yesterday, but it hasn't been confirmed.
that's the scuttle. That's what I heard from one.
And that's why I wasn't bringing it up, because I don't know, they haven't voted on it yet, so.
It's a problem. I don't know how to get it out to people, because I mentioned sometimes that it's just not here. Register people should sit down and read it. Register had a big article, I don't know, a year or so ago, mainly on the crime problem in Iowa.
Mhm.
Told about a deputy, he's running by himself out in this little town around Omaha, big problem. He had quite a brouhaha, got lucky, and a bail bondsman was going by at a Casey store and helped him out. Most people don't know that we hardly got anybody at all working early in the morning in Wapello County. What is it, 14th largest county in the world? I guess what I can't understand, and I'm starting to find out about the money and political battles and all this kind of stuff, but it just seems like whenever you guys need a deputy or somebody to work down at the jail, it's like pulling teeth.
Well,
And
and that's, I think that's part of the frustration that Sheriff Miller had.
I know.
I think he wanted the department to grow, and that was his main concern and focus, and I think that's what frustrated him. You know, also, the supervisors have, I guess, gotten better to work with, I guess. We added 2 part-time positions in the jail to full-time in November. And we have those guys that are working a lot of overtime. I think our department averages, you know, last week when I did payroll was 90 hours of overtime between the deputies in the jail. And the week before it was 35. But we average anywhere from 80 to 100 hours. And, you know, that adds up quite a bit.
That's 2 deputies right there.
Yeah, so,
Well, what he mentioned is if that register article is close, I think my memory's good on Monroe County. The last 3 years, Monroe County violent crime up 55%, I believe. And I think Wapello County was close. I think it was up in the high 40s. And you know, and then trying to do it with the same manpower, that to me is just not a win.
well, and those numbers we take to the supervisors every budget year. You know, we've did big printouts and given them and showed them how the calls have increased from 2011, 8,400 calls to almost 11,000 at the end of 2018. So, yeah, you know, as a result with the jail and what's going on there, you know, last month we were 108 daily average in jail. This morning there was 99 in jail when you checked this morning. I think we have 6 or 7 farmed out to Davis County right now. So, you know, I think it's a point that we need to think about. The county attorney made some, I don't want to use the word promises, but I thought he could work on that a little bit through his campaign, so we'll see what he can do. I'm hoping that he can kind of get those folks through a little quicker. So, any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question, and this may pertain to Miller as much as anybody, but we had a problem in this town with a guy named Famous.
Mm-hmm.
We called numerous times in driving vehicles. He had vehicles, 3 or 4 different vehicles, didn't have a license. Vehicles weren't licensed, weren't insured. I know myself probably called 12 to 15 times down there. You know, he did a little jail time when he shot outside of a bar here once. But we talked to Miller. I just don't understand, you know, our whole, as this town, with its community, he was spinning around these ball diamonds when kids were playing ball at least 60 to 70, 80 mile an hour. Called, numerous parents called on him. You know, we didn't want him to kill, you know, a kid around that ball diamond, a young kid. I mean, he ended up getting a kid killed before anything happened. And I seen finally, you know, he's in jail, or maybe for who knows how long. But, you know, we contacted him, Miller, wanting to turn, basically when he would never do nothing, wanting to actually turn in some of this to his parole officer, and was told not to. We didn't need to turn it into the parole officer. That why wouldn't, you know, as a citizen, why wouldn't you, you know, was the sheriff not, how did that just get dodged all this time? I mean, that's one thing I'd like to know. And I
guess I don't know what the conversation is with Mark was.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I'm just hearing the one side of it here tonight.
Yeah.
But, you know, as a result of Dennis's behavior on the night that you're talking about, I know that the deputy come up twice that night looking for Dennis. I know. I mean, we have to locate him in order to arrest him. You know, and it's a very, very unfortunate incident that occurred, because I think that was the next morning or a couple days later that occurred. But I know it was brought up when the accident occurred, and I looked into it, and I know the deputy come up twice. I was thinking the night you guys called, but you know,
he drove a year with every kind of vehicle you could imagine every day, and we called.
We were just told, keep
I
calling,
think
keep calling.
where we were really having a problem on where I was. And okay, and I visited one of your deputies one night, and he was up here looking for him. That's one of the nights I ride a bike a lot. I guess I had a problem, kind of like Jerry. He was on parole for possession of a weapon, a firearm by felon. And we get all this other stuff going down the road. And, you know, I guess basically we just just couldn't understand why something couldn't, why he just couldn't be got off the street for a while, I guess easy ways.
But he's got a,
And maybe we don't understand the way the system works anymore, but I noticed Neff, good for him, he got the bond raised on a fellow, I read that in the paper. That's a plus, but that's where I was having problems, and seriously, 70 mile an hour down the main drag with kids playing in their yards. I mean,
I think what you guys are having is the frustration
Yeah,
that we
it's-
have each and every day also, again, it's a lack of staff where we can be everywhere at once, I think what was happening there, he was horsing around and doing his crap when, knowing that we're gonna be on our way, and then he'd be gone out of town, we'd be up here for a while, and then they'd leave, so.
And then he'd be back here the next day doing the same thing.
well, I heard rumors that he had friends around that's got radios that knows he's coming.
probably wasn't on a scanner and didn't.
It probably is, I mean, that's
That's
a common thing.
I just wanted to mention it because I felt like, I personally feel like everybody running for sheriff. I'm glad Mark's going, to put it that way. I'd be, honest to tell you, I'm pushing for Darren because I'd like to see everybody in there. I don't feel like the job was getting done personally, in my opinion. There's lots of deputies coming out here different times, and in my opinion, didn't look very hard for him. We could have told him where he was 9/10 of the time. But whether he's working for you guys, I don't know, don't give a shit, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he
just a
wasn't
matter of
working
time
for
before we
us.
got somebody killed, and we was right, and it happened, and there was just no use of it, not at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I had. I just basically, I'd like to talk to all the deputies, or anybody running for sheriff, see what maybe you guys didn't have any input on it. I would almost thought some of the deputies would have.
Input on what?
On why something never was done, because there was numerous, you guys that have a computer, you can get on there and see how many times he was called in a year's time
Mhm.
for driving around like a madman, most of the time high on drugs, with no license, no insurance. That's illegal. If I tried doing it, I'd be sitting in jail probably.
Probably not very long.
Yeah, probably not. But
Don, thanks for.
Yeah.
thanks for
I guess I just
stopping
have one other quick question. Maybe I just didn't understand, and maybe we need to understand better. But are the deputies then like doing work at the jail? You were talking about the overtime and stuff at the jail, and the deputies being used there?
No, what I was talking about is the combined payroll and the overtime amount. So the combined payroll involved the deputies and the jail staff. So no, they're not
Okay.
working in the jail. They're,
I didn't think so. I thought that'd be a jailer, so I guess I was
No.
just confused.
But thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, thanks,
Yep.
Jason.
The budget and approved for publication. The public hearing for the budget is set for March 4th, 2019 at 7 PM at Blakesburg City Hall. I would entertain a motion to pass resolution 19.2.11.1. 13.1.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 19.2.13.1, budget publication and public hearing.
Motion by Chisholm,
I'll second.
second by Van Dorn. Roll call vote, Chisholm,
Aye.
Benj, Smith,
Aye.
Van Dorn.
Aye.
Cope is absent. Okay, motion carries, resolution carries. And we'll be changing the office hours here as Ina starts her next term of school. Right? So new hours at City Hall starting February 25th, 2019. Monday is 10:30 to 2, Tuesday 8 to 5, Wednesday 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., Thursday 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Friday 8 a.m. to 12:30. I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 19.2.13.2.
I'll give you a motion to approve resolution 19.2.13.2.
Motion by Van Dorn,
Second.
seconded by Benj. Roll call vote, Chisholm,
Aye.
Benj,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Van Dorn,
Aye.
and Copeland's absent. Okay, next up was the building permit for Daryl Leffler. I think we're in agreement that maybe he didn't need a permit, but have him do a one call on that just to make sure he.
So if you want, I can just catch him and tell him that, there won't be a charge for it, but just make sure you do a one call on Andrew.
Sounds good to me. We don't need to vote on that thing, is all correct? Okay, no vote. I will take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Benj,
I'll second.
second by Van Dorn. All in favor?
Good.
Aye.
Good.